Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started in a minute, but before we do, if you could just confirm that you can hear me as well as see my screen, that would be great in the chat box. Thanks. So we'll get started in a minute. All right, it looks like we're getting a couple of confirmations that everything is all right so far. Hello, Shade. Hello, William. So before we get started, just a quick apology for the last week's webinar. We were experiencing problems with the webinar platform, so we weren't able to connect due to some issues with streaming live to Facebook. So we're giving this another go without that, and then following the webinar, then we're going to save the video and upload it to Facebook and YouTube, to the group and the channel respectively for replays, so that those are going to be available that way rather than previously, which we had with live streaming. All right, so let's get started with an introduction. My name is Peter. I am the product manager of WooPlayer, and we are holding these weekly webinar calls in order to gather feedback from you guys as users, as well as to present you with new stuff that we've been working on, so you're able to leverage everything that's out there on production currently. Additionally, we're here to answer questions which you may have and provide any training needed for advanced WooPlayer features or anything that you would like to see explained in detail. So the format is pretty simple. Hopefully you came with some prepared questions, so at any time feel free to just paste those in the chat box and we'll organize them and answer them in the order that they come in. Please don't wait for me to finish talking. If you have some questions, just feel free to start typing them in the chat box. That way we can make sure that we answer all of them before the time is out. And we are scheduled for 30 minutes today, so hopefully we'll get to answer all of those. All right, great. So let's get started. One thing that we've been working on extensively for the past few weeks, actually almost a month now, is the enhancements that we're making to the security of the video content. And I'm both excited and pleased to announce that that new process for securing videos has been released to production as a beta, so optional for everybody who is uploading their videos to WooPlayer. There is a new checkbox when you're creating a video which says secure my video. So if you check that, it's going to go through the new process, and if you leave that unchecked, it's going to be handled as it was up until now. So what this handles is the issue which we were facing for a lot of users regarding the security and privacy of their video content by exploiting some of the weaknesses in the previous method. Visitors were able to download the video from our users' websites. So with this new method, and there's a quick article next to this which we're implementing, the new process which leverages HLS segmentation and encryption is basically close to impossible to download those videos. So any videos which you upload to WooPlayer with this checkbox checked should be protected to the highest standard, and your visitors will have no chance of downloading your material and using it for their own needs. So we're really excited to test that out. We're even thinking of a challenge to post it on the Facebook group to see if anybody on there is going to be able to download one of these videos. So stay tuned for that. Thus far, everybody who looked at them deemed them pretty secure. So hopefully you will be able to secure your videos with this and protect your files and your original content, and don't have to worry about that being downloaded. All right, we have a first question. Let's see. For sub-accounts on the login page, I noticed links to WooPlayer. Isn't that supposed to be white labeled? Yes and no, depending which login page. So I'm assuming that you have, if you set up a white label license, then you were probably over here in My Site and Clients, and then probably set up the custom domain for your white labeled website. So this is my custom domain. I haven't used it in a while, so I don't know if it's set up correctly, but let's just take a look at it. So what happens with it is I haven't set a title, that's right. So stay updated with the newest WooPlayer features. And the WooPlayer logo is my own that I have for my white label website, so that's the reason why that's appearing. But yeah, this bottom part of stay updated with newest WooPlayer features is something that we just recently added, and I think we completely forgot about handling that for white label accounts. Or our apologies if that's showing up currently. We'll remove that with the next release. We can't see your screen. Let me try refreshing that. Turn screen share off. I'm trying to refresh the screen right now. Are you able to see my screen now? Just let me know. It should be a login page for WooPlayer. Just let me know if it's back. Yep. All right. The screen is back. All right. So to answer the question once more, so if you were setting up the site in My Clients, then you probably set up your own logo, your own site title, as well as the custom domain which you want to use. So an important thing to note is this custom domain, which you've assigned to the white label site, is what you should be using, or at least what your sub-accounts should be using for logging into WooPlayer. So opening that up gives us that custom page where a lot of stuff is taken out because we recognize it's a white label domain. So, excuse me, you don't have those links like you do on a normal page. Let me just put them side to side for comparison. So this would be the normal page on the right, and this is the white label page on the left. And I happen to have the WooPlayer logo as my white label appearance, so that's why it's appearing there. But one thing that we forgot to, and I just noticed this, forgot to handle is this stay updated with the newest WooPlayer features, which is showing up on both the white label as well as on the regular login screens. So that's one difference between those two, and we'll definitely take care of that. But the main difference is really you should be using your custom domain, which you set up to send it to your sub accounts rather than sending them to the main account. Also, the favicon for our sub accounts shows WooPlayer. Yep, that is very possible. We'll take care of that as well. We haven't had, to be honest, much engagement with the white label accounts. There's been some interaction, and people have definitely started becoming much more interested in those licenses recently. So it is possible there are some gaps between covering up everything that's WooPlayer. I also see that here in the title it says WooPlayer, where it should display the title of the white label website, which I assigned. So yeah, there's definitely some quick fixes which we can implement to make sure that that our name doesn't show up on those white labeled sites. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll do a review on our end of everything for white labels, because probably there's a couple more places where that shows up. So if you see any, if you have a list of things which you've noticed that are not appearing as they should for the Whitelabel sites and are branded as WooPlayer, feel free to forward that to us. Those are all quick fixes on our end, so we can make sure that WooPlayer doesn't display anywhere. Let me just make a note of that. So just a review of the Whitelabel WooPlayer branding. All right. Thanks once more for bringing that to our attention. Let's see. One more question. What is an appropriate price to set for the bandwidth pricing, et cetera, and setup? It's really up to you. Let me just log in. Sword. So as a master account, you have the ability to set the pricing for your sub accounts for the bandwidth and the storage that they used. An important thing to note is that the bandwidth and the storage that they are using will be deducted from your account. So you are the master account and you are purchasing both the storage and the bandwidth as well as the SMS credits for which you can then disperse to your sub accounts. So all of these will be, if I had sub accounts now, and I think I do currently, I think I have test@test.com. So if test@test.com wanted to buy 50 gigabytes of additional 50 gigabytes of bandwidth, that extra bandwidth would be coming in as a request to my account, and then I will disperse my extra bandwidth to that account. As far as the appropriate pricing for it, we are currently, at least just so you know, charging, and you can see that on our website, at our calculation is at around 12 cents per gigabyte. So if you want to make additional profit on that or do some sort of calculation, you could. My recommendation would be not to go above 20-25 cents per gigabyte. That's really a lot. So that's kind of the range in which we're looking to operate. But again, it's up to you as far as which pricing strategy you want to apply on your sub accounts. All right. William is asking, can you show me how to re-enable turbo bandwidth? Can't find it after I turned it off. There is one option for you to turn off bandwidth, and that became available fairly recently, so I'm not sure that that's what happened, but we can take a look at it. So for any video, basically, so for any uploaded video, sorry, you can come into the settings for that video. Let me just lock that. I liked it better this way. So you can come into that video settings, which are available either by clicking over here on its title or on the little video settings icon next to the name. So they'll open up the video settings, and here you have the toggle which says disable turbo bandwidth, and if that's off, it means that it is enabled. As far as I know, I don't think there is any way to do that globally on your account. You can just do it by on per video basis. So hopefully that answers the question. If you want to, if you disabled it for one video, just go back to that video, go to video settings, and then over here you can just say disable to. Well, this should be checked on, so you would just click on it to disable that control, meaning that the bandwidth will be enabled for that video. So hopefully that helps. Not seeing your screen again. All right, let me restart it once more. Apologies for that. Just let me know if the screen is back. I should be on a video editing page with the video settings panel open to the right. Just let me know if you can see it. Yep. All right, so let me just run through it once more quickly. So to enable or disable usage of bandwidth for uploaded videos, you would need to open up the video settings panel for each video. So the way you do that is just open up any video which you want to toggle that on. Just go from scratch. So if I am on the dashboard and I want to do that for this protection test video, I would just come in here to edit video, and I can open up the video settings panel either by clicking over here on the right hand corner next to the video name, or just by clicking title. So either one of those two will open up this panel from the right hand side, and the first option in here should be disable turbo bandwidth. So if that option is on, then bandwidth will not be used for views of that particular video. However, if that option is off, that means that bandwidth will be used. So in short, I don't think there is any way to do this globally. You can only do it on per video basis. So hopefully that answers the question. If you were able to disable it, I'm 99% sure that you did it from here. So you came into video settings and then clicked on disable turbo bandwidth, and that's the exact way that you re-enable it. All right, hopefully that answers that question. Let's see, we have another question. Are sub-accounts separate from the parent account, or do they share bandwidth and other resources with the parent account? Also, is there a maximum number of sub-accounts users we can have? Great question. So to answer the second part first, no, there is no limited number. You can have as many licenses, sub-account licenses as you want, 100 or 1,000. An important thing to note is that all of them are individual licenses that are being charged $10 per month, as you probably are aware. And yes, they are associated with the master account in the respect that all of the bandwidth and all of the storage that they are purchasing through the master account. The sub-accounts themselves have an initial allocation of storage and bandwidth. Don't hold me to this, but I think maybe like 20 or 50 gigabytes that each one has by default. So your account has no interaction with that. However, if they want to purchase additional bandwidth and storage, they are doing that through you. So the way that that's done, the main reason why that's done is because if they purchased it from us, then the credit card statements would show as Whitelabel has charged you, and that's something that we're trying to avoid. So a sub-account, when a sub-account is logged in, and if you have one, you can test this out. So when a sub-account is logged in, they don't see this option which says buy bandwidth. They see an option which says request bandwidth. So when they click on request bandwidth, they have options, and then they complete that request, which is then emailed to you. So it's up to you to handle the payment of that request. And once you're satisfied with the request, then you can complete it or dismiss it. It's completely up to you. But an important thing to note is that if somebody requested 20 gigabytes of storage and you approve that request, you will have 20 gigabytes of storage less on your account. Riza is asking, is there a way to trim a video? No, there is no way to edit the source of the video. Let me answer that in another way. There is no way to edit the actual material of the video, the source video file. So that always remains the way that you upload it. You cannot trim it. You cannot crop it. You cannot edit the source in any way. So Whitelabel is not a video editing platform. It's a player for your video, meaning that it houses the video source which you provide to us. There is, however, a way for you to control which part of your video can be viewed. So if I wanted to, so this, let's take a look at this, and this might be a good example. So this protection test video is 30 seconds long, and at the very end of that video, I think from maybe second 30, let's say second 27, second 28 or so, I don't want this outro to show, so I want to block that from people viewing it. So I could kind of cut that part out. One way in which you can accomplish that is if you came over here to publish options, and then you wanted to either embed it or share it across social media. So let's say I wanted to embed it on my website. I can toggle on this option which says custom start and end times. So if I select that option and then I could just say I want this video to end at second 28, you'll notice that it added a bit of code over here to my embed code, which says the video will end at second 28. And what that will do, it will prevent the video from playing past this point, and the users won't be even able to skip the timeline beyond that point. So basically, we'll treat that second 28, which you specified, as the end of the video. And the same, of course, applies to the start point of the video, meaning that you can say, hey, I want my video to start from the actual second 10 of the video rather than from second 0. So that's one way that in which you can control the portions of the videos which your viewers can interact with. But as far as actually cutting the video in half and taking out the middle part or something like that, those types of edits we leave up to you and to your preferred video editing software for you to manipulate the video that way. Let's see. One more question. What does replace video source URL in settings do? That option, it's pretty self-explanatory. So if you have, let's say I have this embedded on my website somewhere, and after a month of it being used, let's not say it's embedded on one of my websites. Let's say I have it embedded on 50 of my websites. Might be a better example. So after a while, I come up with a better video, which I want to use in that particular campaign or for that wherever I'm using that video, and I want to replace the source, and maybe one of the scenes is different or something is different. Source, maybe some colors change, or I needed to update some of the info in my presentation or something like that, but I don't necessarily want to create a new video and then go to all of the different websites and update my embed codes in there. A quick way to do that would be to just come over here to the video settings and just select the replace video source URL option, and then you can just provide the new video, and that way the source will change and update, but all of your player settings will remain the same, and not to mention that you won't need to update the embed codes across your website. So that's a quick way to replace the source material once you've already published your video online. Same applies to the share link. So if you share the link across the net, like on Facebook or something like that, in some posts which gained a lot of social proof as traction for your campaigns, you will definitely not want to reshare that again, but you will be able just to replace the source, and that way you won't need to share the link again. All right, so let's see what other William, how can we insert custom sizes in the embed code? Custom sizes, that should be fairly easy to do. So if you wanted to do custom sizing of the embed code, you would just turn off the adjustable player size. So right here where it says adjustable player size, by default that's turned on, meaning that we will responsively calculate the width and height of your player and adapt it to the page on which it's playing, whether that be on phones or on desktops or laptops or tablets. If you want to override that behavior, you can always just turn this off, which will bring up the menu for displaying the, for configuring the display width and height of your video. So for example, I wanted to either use one of the presets like this 2080 720, or I wanted to customize, have completely custom size width and height, so I can just select the ratio which I want. So if I typed in 400 over here, I would get 300, and everything that you're typing in here is automatically, as you can see, updated in the embed code. So if I had 600 here, then we have 600 by 450 in the embed code. So just turning off the adjustable player size option and specifying the ratio which you want and the initial width, and will update the embed code to have it fit in whichever environment you want it to fit. A good thing to note here, recently we had some feedback with regards to how videos which are played as a square or even in vertical orientation are converting much better on mobile than regular horizontal videos. So one of the things that we currently have in the queue for consideration is additional options to the adjustable player size. So have the player be adjustable, but also be able to specify its orientation or its aspect ratio of width to height. So that's one of the things that we're looking to release to production soon. We're still kind of experimenting with how that's going to behave. Let's see, Lewis, how long on average does it take to get a response from a ticket? On average, it should not take longer than 24 hours, excluding the weekends. So for our support hours are 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central European time, and we're not working on weekends. So with the buildup of the queue, it might take up to 24 hours. And we also have a live chat option, which is available in here and the in the bottom right corner, and the support hours are the same for that. So not one a week then. Yeah, definitely not one a week. That's definitely not an expected response time. Have you had some issues with the response times from the tickets? If you have, feel free to let me know so we can take a look at those. All right. Let's see if there's any other questions. Just to clarify, a purchase of storage from a sub account does not reduce my own storage. No, that is incorrect. The purchase of storage from a sub account does reduce your storage. So what will happen is when they request additional storage to their account, you, as the master account, will receive a request stating such and such sub account wants to purchase additional storage, at which point you will handle the payment with that sub account, and at that point you will approve that request, and then that will be subtracted from your account and assigned to the sub account. I know we can add. Let's just see what Luis is saying. Yes, yeah. Feel free to point out any issues which we're having with support. We're be as transparent as possible in our process. So if you're experiencing any issues or are unsatisfied with the way that we handled a particular ticket, feel free to let us know. That's the only way in which we can improve that. Let's see, question. I know we can add pre and post roll videos to our main video, but can we also add short videos in the middle of our main video? Yes and no. There is no defined way of doing it, sort of as inserting an ad in the middle of the video. But one way in which you could do that, and this is not something that's officially documented, so this is a bit of a hack, a way in which you can accomplish this. But let's give it a shot. Why not? So I'll come over here to YouTube just to grab a video that we're going to be inserting into the middle of our video in WooPlayer. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. So I will need the embed code. How do I do this again? So let's say I want to embed middle of my WooPlayer video. So what I would do is I would come over here to audience interaction, and I would add an overlay to my video. So I'll come over here and I'll just add an overlay. And let's say that I want that overlay to start at second 5 and end at maybe second 15. Let's see what else. And I'll change the styling of it a little bit so it looks a little bit more like a video. So I'll change it from a pop-up to an interactive overlay. So sorry, to an annotation, and I'll remove that headline. And over here in the source code, I'll paste in that code from YouTube, which I just got. So that's gonna bring in that video in the middle of at second 5, and it's going to last until second 10. Now, the tricky part with that is the control of that video and having that video be autoplay. And I think if you Google how to have YouTube videos be out, and I think I remember how that works. So if I did something like embed and then I gave it a query parameter of autoplay equals 1, something like that. I'm not necessarily sure that that's how it works, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, actually, I had that right. So I'll save that overlay. So now I have a new overlay on my video, which is from second 5 to second 10 or 15. I don't remember what I entered. So when I play that video, let's see what happens. So around second 5, that video should come up, and we have that video in the middle of our video. And of course, you can configure the styling of that overlay and position it like in the top right corner or in the bottom left corner, or however you see fit. So that's one way to do it, and you don't necessarily need to do it with YouTube. If you have you could in practice, you could embed a WooPlayer video inside of a WooPlayer video inside of a WooPlayer video, and so on and so on. Just keep in mind that the more videos you add, you're kind of overloading the computing power of the visitor's machine. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, basically you could insert any type of content as an overlay. So again, just as an overview, if you come over here to interactive overlays, and you can style them however you want. So let me just give it a little bit more styling. So I'll just remove this background entirely. So let's do it like that, and I'll hide the border so it just looks like there's a video just playing there. So that will be a good way to set that up. And over here in the overlay details, you can just come in the content section and just switch to the source code and just paste in whatever you want, and it'll work. I'll just deactivate this or just delete it real quick just because the song is playing in my headset. All right, so that's a good way to do that. All right, I had a couple of more things which I wanted to talk about, and I'll run through those quickly. So if there's any questions, feel free to leave them. We're kind of running short on time. One thing that I wanted to mention, and I don't know if you saw this, this has been an addition added yet today, actually. And there's a new option which allows you to toggle between active and all features. So if you have a lot of settings in your player, such as you added a custom logo, but maybe then you turned on marker points over here, and you don't necessarily want to go through all of the different settings to find what's on and how to edit it, you can just quickly turn on this option which says show only active features. So that will just filter out everything that's inactive and only give you the stuff that things which are active. So for example, if I disabled full screen, it would immediately be moved from that list. And at any point, of course, I can just switch back to all features and then find the ones which I want to work on. So that's one of the new improvements. Also, a completely new feature which we added. It's fairly basic now, but we're looking for some feedback. Is we added a new on finish action, which allows you to add an end card to the video, meaning that once the video has ended, you can just specify again. Why not? Let's just grab that. This will act as a post roll, but you can just insert a video or any content in there, a message of some sort, or a link to your users after watching the video, like thank you for watching the video, visit my website or whatever, and this will just show whenever the video has finished playing. So it's fairly basic for now, so we're looking for some initial feedback on how to improve that feature. So again, that's available under interaction on finish action, and you should select end card content. So that's one of the new things which we've added. Also, yeah, actually, if I remember correctly, I think Dean requested that feedback in one of the webinars a while back, and we thought it was a great enhancement. So we've added it. It took us maybe a few weeks, but we got around to it, and we're excited that it's available. Also, one other thing I wanted to talk about, to just mention, because a couple of people have requested this in the tickets, and we were also able to put it out there, is we've enhanced the mass import functionality, because a lot of people have different sources for their videos. So one of the things which we've added is for the URL importing section, we added an ability to import from a comma or a character separated value, a CSV file. So you can just grab, you can see how the template is configured, and then if you have some experience with Excel or Google Sheets or something like that, you can put together a CSV of all of the URLs which you want to import, and then just rather than pasting it in here. So that's one of the quick enhancements which we also added. An important thing to note also is that we released the WooPlayer 4.0 plugin to the WordPress repository, so that's available also now as an official download. So if you are using WooPlayer and you have a WordPress site, go to plugins and just search for WooPlayer, and the newest version, the version supporting WooPlayer 4, has just been released. I think this past week to the repository, so it's available for download, and it makes it a much easier for you to get WooPlayer videos on your posts and pages, rather than coming back to the application and copy and pasting embed codes all over the place. So that's one more thing to note. There's a couple of more small enhancements, but we can leave those for next week. As if you come over here to, on any video, if you want to find out more about this, you can just, when you're publishing, there's a little snippet over here which says, are you publishing on WordPress? Try our plugin. And you can just click on here, and that's going to give you more information about how the plugin works and how it behaves. And there is a download link for the plugin, which was merely because we didn't have it on the WordPress repository. Still, we need to update this link, because now you can just go to plugins in WordPress and just type in WooPlayer, and you will find it, rather than having to download it and then install it via the zip. All right, cool. So we ran a bit over time, but it's been a productive session. So thank you, everybody, for attending this week and for providing feedback. We'll look into making that Whitelabel, those Whitelabel sites, a little bit branded. So we'll do a review of that and release it in the upcoming release next week, most likely. So thanks again. Hopefully you'll join next week and help us improve WooPlayer even more. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.